All right, our last segment, we're going to talk about um, myelin and myelated nerves. So unmyelated nerves, unmyelated fibers, have a radii around 0.05, have radii around 0.05 to zero point 0.6 microns, and conduction speed goes approximately as 1800 times the square root of the radius, and about 2/3 of all axons are unmyelated. A is the axon radius, and so, and this is myelated here, by the way. Um, so that's um, compared to how fast a myelinated axon uh, propagates a signal, which is 10 to the 6th times the radius, right? So this is much greater than this at times. All right, so the myelinated fibers are also much larger because not only do you have the axon, but you have the myelin around it. And so 0.5 to 10 micron range, they can get quite large. And they're wrapped with many layers. So it's not a single layer of myelin. It's many layers of myelin going around. And this scale is nowhere close to accurate because distance from these nodes, right? These nodes where there is no myelin, that distance is about 100 times the radius, right? The outer radius. And so um, from here to here, nodes of Rinsvier, those nodes are very far apart. And when a signal propagates down the myelin, when it hits here, when it hits the myelin, it 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 is where it's propagating quickly, and it's not ions. There's no movement of ions in this. You're not talking about sodium channel. You're not talking about potassium channel. The signal simply propagates down very quickly. And as it reaches the node here, what happens is that node then regenerates a signal. So it seems that the signal from node to node, once you get down, and that's why it's called saltatory, because it's a regenerated, right? Once you get to about 10% of the signal value, it fires off at the next node. And so it just kind of hops, the signal kind of hops, boom, 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 down the nerve and gets regenerated along the way. And these typically are for motor function, right? When you need to move, um, where unmyelinated typically give you your sense of temperature and things like that. And if you look at myelin, it's these lipids that are back to back, if you will. And so if you look at the layers, there's water, there's uh, polar, lipid, polar, water, polar, lipid, polar, water, right? Water, polar, lipid, polar, water. This structure gets wrapped around again and again and again on the fiber. And so again, the propagation, basically you're you're going along and you're hopping from node to node. Right? You regenerate the signal, boom, and you hop to the next node. This is why if you're using a local anesthetic, um, you actually have to have an anesthetic that hits a number of the nodes. And so you're usually need when you got a local anesthetic, if you want it to work well, you need a few centimeters to kind of get things to where the signal doesn't jump. Because even if an anesthesia basically keeps the ion channels closed. But the way this works, let's say you've closed the ion channel here and here and here, but the signal comes in and it's still, some of it's still going to make it through, and then it's going to get to the other side of where you've put in the anesthetic, and it's going to regenerate. And so you've got to have a large enough area that you've closed the ion channels on to get it um, to stop the signal. The other thing is shingles. is shingles. This is the home of shingles. So the chickenpox vaccine can sit around here in this little sheath for a very long time, and then it's personal experience extremely painful when that myelin becomes inflamed. So that's it for this. I'm going to put together some fairly straightforward problems, and we'll go from there.